The question for this presentation is, are there any cases where nominee director of a company in Singapore has taken undue advantage of their director position in a company? Or put it differently, can nominee director be a risk to you? Foreigners, most of the time when they incorporate the company, they have to engage a service of a nominee director. And in this video, I'm going to give you some practical insight into nominee directors for foreigner promoted companies in Singapore. So let's proceed ahead. And first of all, let's see what we are exactly referring here to. Every company registered in Singapore must have at least one director who is locally resident in Singapore. Now, this is normally not a problem if you are a Singapore resident, because in that case you satisfy the requirement of a locally resident director. However, when foreigners promote company in Singapore, they typically don't have any person to act as a local director of the company. And in this case, we or any other secretarial firm like us will provide a nominee director. However, we notice that in these cases, people often have concerns about the role of the nominee director and what nominee director may do or may not do. Now, I have already created few videos on this topic explaining various aspects of risk and the mechanisms in which this can be controlled. But this video concentrates more on the practical aspect of nominee director industry in Singapore. So the first key point for you to note here is more than 15,000 companies are incorporated every year with nominee director arrangement and which are promoted by foreigners. So appointing a nominee director to satisfy this local director requirement is quite a common practice, and it is happening at quite a large scale. Now, when it comes to interacting with the business, nominees are typically not interested in access to the bank account, access to your company's bank account, and also they don't want any involvement in your business. And every nominee director or a corporate secretarial firm will ensure this in order to protect their own interest. So what happens is, let's suppose that there is a company in which a nominee director is appointed, and that company goes into a problem and some criminal case is filed against that company. Let's suppose the promoter engages into some cheating case or whatever. And during the investigation, if it is found that nominee director has access to the bank account or nominee director has participated in any of the decision making of the company, then there is a huge risk for the nominee director that he may be implicated in the case and he may be charged in the court of the law, saying that he was the party to this fraud or cheating, whatever the case is. So generally, most of the nominee directors and the corporate secretarial firms which provide this nominee director service, they will try their best not to get involved in any business of the company. They will not touch your bank account, they will not sign any business documents, and they will try to avoid everything as much as possible. And this is out of their own interest. So in a way, businesses are already protected because nominees don't show any interest in participating in their business. And the next important point for you to understand is our sector, corporate secretarial services or corporate secretarial providers sector, is regulated by Accounting and Corporate Regulation Authority of Singapore. And in case if it is found that in this process, if a nominee director or the corporate secretarial provider who provides these services has done any wrongdoing by way of wrongfully taking the funds out or by carrying out some wrongful transactions, then the consequences of that can be quite severe. For example, it can result into cancellation of professional number. That means the business has to stop, or it can even mean police case and charging in the court of law. So again, here most of the corporate secretarial providers will try to ensure that they don't get into this route, and they try to remain clear as much as possible for any of these risks. So in summary, nominees out of their own interest will not get involved with any company transactions. You have to understand that at times Nominee directors may appear as director for quite a lot of companies, and there's no point in risking that business just by doing some hanky panky work in some one of the companies.
Thank you for watching this video. This video was brought to you by Epica Consulting Singapore. Subscribe to our channel today to get notified when new videos are posted.